Right, I believe that the recording is in progress, so I want to welcome everyone. Hi, good afternoon or good evening if you are maybe watching the recording. Welcome to Creating Connection in Online Programming. This is a webinar series as part of a learning and teaching group. My name is Ana Karen Gatica Toledo, and I am with West Virginia State Extension. I work with 4-H agents in summer programming, but my main role is to conduct Spanish programs. So I just incorporate 4-H principles, and I really love my role. And I'm gonna let Wendy introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Waxman-Kern, and I'm really happy to be here with Karen to teach this class. I'm a 4-H program coordinator in San Juan County, Washington. So if you picture the state of Washington up in the upper left-hand corner, and we consist entirely of islands. So we have 4-H programs on 4 islands in this county. And and I do quite a bit of facilitation in my role. And so I think that's about it for introductions, other than maybe introduce, and I'm chairing the Learning and Teaching Committee, the working group this year.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Kim
Wendy has done a fabulous job.
Thanks. Kim, since you're our tech support, would you like to introduce yourself?
All right. I'm Kim Pond. I work with the University of Massachusetts. I'm one of the working group people with the teaching and learning, and I'm kind of going to be in the background, but also a participant today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Kim, for being here. And well, we do have a introductory activity. So for this, we're gonna make it kind of like a tossing the ball activity. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so that we can see each other, hopefully. And if your camera, you can turn it on. But this is what we can say. Well, some of us have already introduced ourselves, our name. But if you want to share your position, where you're joining us from, and what you are currently watching, on TV, maybe a movie or something that you may be streaming, or if not at the moment, maybe the last thing that you watched, and also what you expect to gain out of this webinar. So we'll make it, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So I think the gallery view is probably going to work for this activity. So we're going to have to use our imagination. Thinking that, we're tossing a ball to one another, and when your turn comes, when someone tosses the ball at you or to you, you can just, share. So I will lead the activity. Like I said, my name is Ana Karen. I'm in Charleston, West Virginia. It's pretty hot these days in the summer. I am currently watching The Bold Type on Hulu. I don't know if anyone familiar with that show. And well, I'm facilitating this webinar, and what I expect the most, and I really hope for our participants, is to learn ideas and things that you can incorporate into your own 4-H programming or any meetings that you may be conducting. And I'm gonna toss the ball to Wendy. And you're on mute.
Thank you. Well, I already introduced myself. Let's see. And what am I watching right now? I am not currently watching anything, so I'll tell you what I watched last, which was Mayor of Easttown. And it just was captivating to me. Let's see, what do I hope to gain from today's session? Just hoping to share some good ideas with each other, and really looking forward to sharing some of ours and hearing some of yours so that we can learn from each other. And I'm going to toss the ball to Jeanette.
Hi, I'm Jeanette. I'm in Pennsylvania. I work with our teen leadership here at the state level. I'm watching a couple of different things. I just finished Cruel Summer on Hulu, which I was interested in because I saw the main character was Jeanette, and I never see someone with my name on a TV show, so that was exciting. But I've also been binge watching, also on Hulu, the entire series of The Amazing Race. It's how I'm getting in my adventure travel right now, since I can't really go anywhere. And to get out of today's session, just some new ideas that maybe haven't been utilized here in our state before. We've been doing a lot of things, but there's a lot of other ideas out there as well. I will pop to Chantel.
Hey there, I'm Chantel Wilson. I'm the 4-H STEM Extension Specialist at Virginia State University. And I've just been watching old episodes of Stargate. I love all of that sci-fi stuff. And I'm attending this today just because I'm looking for some new tips and tricks. Always good to learn and hear new ideas.
So I guess it's back to me. I'm the closer. I'll end it. I kind of introduced myself, but as far as my position, I'm the SET specialist. So I also work with the 4-H online database. And I'm currently watching Gilmore Girls with my daughter. And it's getting out. I'm just like everybody. I like to network with my colleagues and pick up trips and support each other.
Great. Thank you. I'm going to take it from here real quick and share my screen. Let's see. There we go. Because we have an ideas parking lot for you today. And I'll also share a link to that in the chat in just a moment. The idea being that as questions come up, that you would like to ask, or any thoughts you have too, if you have additional resources, just anything you would like to keep track of as we're going, please share them in this document, and we will come, Kim's going to help out and monitor that a bit. And we'll come back around to it as things pop up or at the end. And as always, if there's something we just can't address in our time together today, we'll get back to you on it. So we really love using an ideas parking lot in our workshops just to track, you know, things, because sometimes the topic doesn't completely fit, or you've got that one idea in the middle of a conversation and you can't get it in. So this is a great way to track this. So I see there's something in the chat. So
Yeah,
looks
there's
like
the link. The link.
thanks, Kim. Perfect. So there's the link. And the other thing, of course, is that we would like to hear back from you at the end of the webinar today. And so we'd love it if you would fill out our evaluation. And there's an evaluation of both the course, and then that'll lead you to an evaluation to get your certificate so that you can get recognition for having attended today. So I think, Kim, if you don't mind popping that link to the evaluation into the chat, then you'll have it, and we'll share it with you again at the very end, so that, yeah, in case you miss it this time around.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, so now, Winnie, I'm gonna share the slides back again.
Perfect. I'm going to stop sharing. All right.
Perfect. You're fine. So it kind of seems like conversation in here, right? We're a small group.
Yeah, we're a small group. So let's go ahead and just, talk a little bit about this. So, you know, as you know, this series, or maybe you don't know, but this series is our new and renew of the PRKC. And so we just wanted to have a really brief exchange with you about what you know about the PRKC and how you're implementing it. This is not a test to see how much you're doing or how much you know. It's really just to kind of see where you are. And then in our next step, we'll just all get on the same page. So feel free to just talk. We don't have to use the chat. We're such a small group. We can just share. So what do you know about the PRKC and how are you implementing it currently?
I guess this is Kim. I can go first. I kind of use it as a self-assessment to kind of reinforce all the components that I should be taking into consideration, and kind of looking at where my strengths and weaknesses are when I look for professional development.
Yeah, it is my understanding, if I can next, that that is basically for us extension professionals, right, for professional development. I am pretty new with extension. This is my second year in this position, so there's still a lot more than I don't know about it. So I was really excited to learn because I know that I can incorporate all of these practices into my programming because again, I'm conducting Spanish programming, which is, outside of what 4-H normally does, but I do incorporate some of its principles. So it's been great, and I just hope to learn more about it.
Great. Any other thoughts, Chantal, Jeanette? Chantal, you're a newbie, so new to the PRKC. What about you, Jeanette?
I know that I've seen the acronym on NAE 4HA things, but I don't actually know what it is.
That's totally fine.
Fabulous. That's great. So we'll learn a little bit together. Thank you for moving on to the next slide. Well, here you go, the unveiling. So PRKC stands for the 4-H Professional Research Knowledge and Competencies. It's a framework, and it was developed as a basis for professional development. So exactly what we're doing. And there's the link in the chat to learn more about it. And it's just a really useful tool for youth development professionals, and it includes a self-assessment. So I think, like Kim was saying, you can kind of evaluate where you are on that with your strengths and your areas for potential development, and then you can really kind of hone in on some things. And okay, well, I already know I'm quite good in that, so maybe I could help others with that, aspect of it. And that's a part where I could really grow a little bit more. So I'm going to seek out some professional development opportunities to develop in that area. It's divided into 6 key domains. And what we've done in this series of webinars is hone in on some of those aspects. So today, kind of this overarching in our little cloud there, our overarching topic is practices for creating connections with participants using online tools. So some of the things we've already done, tossing the ball, and getting you involved in some discussion. And we're going to show you some more. So one of the things we'll be addressing today is inclusive programming around program implementation, using facilitation skills to encourage everyone's participation. We're a small group, so we're kind of singling you out, I think, in some of these situations, but how to do that in a kind way, in a welcoming way, and involving participants as partners in their learning. So really recognizing, I think, the skills that people are bringing to the table. And so that's kind of our first area we're focusing in on. And I see a colleague from Washington State joining. Then we're going to focus on youth development relationship building. So a couple of aspects of that: creating a positive relationship at all levels with youth, families, and community partners, and maintaining a mentor-learner relationship with youth and volunteers. And finally, the last aspect of the PRKC that we're addressing in our webinar today is program delivery and educational technology, and really understanding that educational technology can be used as a remote learning tool. I know we've been doing that for over the last year, and still, as we established at the beginning of the Zoom, Karen and Kim and I, there's still things that we're learning. So hoping to share some of those with you and learn from you as well. And since we're such a small group, would it be okay if we give Michelle just a quick chance to introduce herself before we continue? Great. Michelle, welcome. So glad you're here. Good to see you. If you want to just introduce yourself real quick. We just went through the PRKC learning objectives we'll be covering today. And we earlier asked folks to share name, position, location, and what they're watching right now, like if you're streaming anything good, or if there's been a movie you've seen, and then what you hope to gain from today's session.
Okay, let's see. Michelle Lane, I'm in Washington State in Chelan and Douglas counties. I'm the 4-H program assistant. And I don't have a streaming device of any kind except for my phone, which I won't use. We're a low tech family, which I do like. So it's pretty much whatever's on PBS is what's on at our house. but I'm just hoping to gain some tips and tricks and ideas for implementing here.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. All right. Well, moving along, I'm going to facilitate this section, and then I think you'll get a little break from my voice for a bit. But you know, as you would do with any group, creating some community commitments or whatever you call them, group guidelines, group norms, ground rules, you may have different terms you use for them. Karen and I agreed we liked community commitments. This is something, of course, you would do that creates trust within the group connection. It's a kind of a contract. So let's just run through this. Maybe you've got some favorites that you like to use in your groups. What would be important to you today in our next roughly hour together? We started us off with this I will or we will kind of a phrasing. So who's got one? Who's got a community commitment that that you'd like to add to our group for today that'll help us work well together and learn well together?
Well, I can start this off if that's okay. Yeah, we're all here, right? I believe that we all chose to spend our time to learn more because we are devoted to our profession and to our participants if we conduct programming. So I'm going to say that we will use our time to learn new ideas and learn from each other as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and type that one. But if anybody else would like to also add new ones, please.
This is Kim. I can say I will, we will be open to learning also, but also, like, as they say, there's no bad idea. We're brainstorming, so keep an open mind for new ideas.
These are great. Anybody else got some good ones that you like to use? Think about if you do direct programming with youth, what are some of the things that you like to have on this board of community commitments? Yeah.
I guess something that, right, for those of us that conduct programming, we expect our participants to, to be active participants as well. So how about we will, actively participate in the activities.
Great.
The activities.
Yeah. Let's see.
Else.
I think we've pretty much got, I will share my experience. I think that's another one that we talked about beforehand, that maybe we'd add that one, Karen.
Yes. I will share my experience, absolutely. And I don't know, I would like to add something about, this idea of community commitments. I recommend, adding or having an activity like this at the beginning of all of your sessions, even if it's a one time or if you have like multiple sessions, definitely. But I think it sets the tone for, what you expect for everyone. And I also think that, we work with youth, and I really think that language and the words that we use makes a difference. So I love the idea of community commitments, right? Because it sends the message that we're a community here, we're a learning community, fostering that positive learning environment. But also, I work with middle and high school students, so we know how they are, right? So I like to use the expression, let's play the game. Let's all commit to participate, to foster a positive environment where you are free and you should feel comfortable sharing your opinions. No one's going to judge. I guess respect, everyone's opinions. It's okay. Let's learn to disagree. So I love using that. Let's play the game. And it's a way to also work with classroom or classroom management, right? If you see like a behavioral program or something, behavioral problem, you can probably address it like, hey, are you playing the game? You know, not too harsh, like, hey, don't do this or pay attention. So, hey, are you playing the game? So again, I do believe that language and the words that we use matter. So that's another thing around this idea of community commitments.
Thanks for adding that.
Yes. I'm glad I remembered to share that.
Those, yeah. And so any closing thoughts on this? So how about this? If everybody agrees to these community commitments, how about a thumbs up? Either you can show your thumb or just do the reaction.
Or send in the chat. I agree.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. I do feel like, you know, this can be really a positive experience and activity for everyone. All right.
Great.
Get going.
Let's move on. Yeah. Let's jump into the meat of this.
Yeah, absolutely. To the actual content, right? So we're here to learn how to make connections in online settings. And, you know, something that we have learned over the past year is, you know, to conduct meetings or sessions programming with, you know, the use of technology. So we do have some ideas that we want to share with you. We decided to focus on specific platforms. Particularly, I'm going to share some ideas or examples of my own programming on Jamboard and Padlet, which probably Jamboard most of you or all of you may be familiar with. So I am going to go to a new window. So just bear with me for a second. But maybe I can ask for a raise of hands. How many of you conduct programming on a regular basis? That you work directly with youth, or any sort of session that you may be conducting, or maybe not. All right. Let's see. Can you guys see my Jamboard? Should be able to. Right. Well, when we conduct sessions, and you know, particularly that we work with youth and in an online setting specifically, that's what we're here for. We want to first, you know, before we jump into curriculum, into actual content, I think it's really, really important. And I'm a truly advocate of connections before curriculum, because I truly believe that if we foster that positive environment where everyone can feel comfortable, you know, we're all here to learn. It just sets the tone, right? It makes it more friendly for our participants. So we can use technology as a way to do it, you know, in a more low stress situation for them. Sometimes even, you know, I know that we're using Zoom right now, but it may be even a little bit intimidating. We're thinking about, you know, youth, middle school, high school age. Sometimes they just don't want to share. So here, engagement is more willing to happen. So with Jamboard, I recommend to use it as, you know, icebreaker activities. Just ask everyone to share favorite hobby, food, sports, anything that can make everyone find common ground. And I've seen that reaction, you know, when they say, oh, I like it too, you know, I like to do that. Oh, I've watched that. It's definitely something good. And they just start making that connection instantly. Some other ideas for icebreakers: would you rather, you know, to give them two options and they decide which one they like the most. Name 3 things, for example, 3 things that you can live without, or 3 things that you will take to a camping trip or something. And, you know, just start like creating a nice conversation around that. Any type of open-ended questions. 4 corners, you can have just 4 options, and everyone can just select the one that they like the most. 2 truths and a lie works well, pretty well. Just have everyone come up with statements about themselves. And, you know, it could be really nice to have everyone try to guess what the lie is. That works really great for icebreakers. And I truly recommend, again, a little bit of language or word choice. Let's not even use the word icebreakers with them. Let's just say, let's just get to know each other. You know, let's find some common ground, because I don't know, I feel like in online, it may be a little bit awkward, especially with that age group. I know that I can tell you that for experience. Jamboard works great for social emotional learning check-ins, which, over the past year, I've learned that more than ever, we really want to check on people's feelings. And this is a really low stake way to do that. Sometimes they may feel not as comfortable saying, oh, I'm not okay, but it's okay, let's learn it. We don't always have to be happy. All of our emotions and our feelings are valid. So this is really low stress. You may not even have to use the word I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm tired. You can use color-coded activities or memes like this that you may have seen different kinds of. Apparently everyone's obsessed with Baby Yoda these days. So they're on a scale of, Baby Yoda in this case, how are you feeling? And they're more likely to tell you the truth with the number or with the color, just to kind of like to read the room, to see their energy levels. And if you see that the majority, maybe they're feeling tired, then you know that you have to keep the session a little bit more interactive. Or, you can check it, someone is feeling sick or something like that. You are more likely to address that kind of situation. Bell ringers, exit tickets, these were great. Just a quick prompt, either at the beginning or at the end of your session. Any poll that you may want to ask. I think I mentioned before, my role is to conduct Spanish programs, so you probably will see a little bit of Spanish language in my examples. I wanted to use real snapshots for you to see the engagement that you could get with these tools. I like to use also Jamboard as a way to provide a room or a space for them to share like a gallery, like a digital gallery. They love sharing what they do, drawings, painting, doodling, or just something in particular, a photo of something that they found interesting. It doesn't have to be something artistic, because you always get oh, I'm not artistic. Well, it's okay, share something that you just want to share with one another. And it's great to see the engagement and, they reply to one another. Again, try to find that common ground. All About Me frames as a way to also get to know each other more, or just let them suggest, their own. In here, they were all talking about superheroes and they love it. They love superheroes. Calendar talks or weekend chats, they were great because something that I've observed also with working with this age group, they love talking about themselves. They love talking about what they do. So just a simple, what are you going to do over the weekend? They love to share that. And if, next time you see them, and if you can make like a follow-up question, hey, how was the game? Or how was, the movie that you went to watch? They feel that, they feel heard, and it helps you as the instructor or as a facilitator to make that connection directly with them. So that really works great. And, not only do we want to create connections among participants, but also I think it's really important for us to create connections with the topic right now, with the actual content in a way of our sessions. So let's just try to come up with, an essential question, something that can make it more relatable to their lives. So for example, here we were talking about Earth Day, and I put them in breakout rooms and they just share some ideas for recycling and reducing and things like that. So find a way for them to make it more relatable to them. And if they can work in groups, that also creates that interaction. Are we following? I feel like I'm speaking too fast. I feel like I have a lot to cover. So, but am I okay?
You're great.
Okay, thank you. Well, that was, some examples on Jamboard, which I'm sure that you've used before. So I'm gonna ask for another raise of hand. How many of you know what Padlet is, and have you used it with participants?
I know a little bit about it, but I haven't had a chance to use it with a group yet.
Oh, that is great. I'm glad. Let me introduce you to this fantastic tool called Padlet, which is, in a nutshell, I guess I can explain it as a digital bulletin board. It allows you to store and display all sorts of media. I like to use it for content organization. And what I love about it, not only for me to, deliver content or facilitate the content, but for students to also have different ways to respond really to prompts or to activities. So not only can they choose, to add text to it, they can select pictures that they can find directly on the site. They can use their camera to take a picture of themselves. So if they want to record a video, there's a voice option as well that they can record their audio. There's a doodling option for those, that may be the way for them to express themselves through drawings. You can do that as well. So this is pretty much what you can do on Padlet. So let me show you some real Padlets that I've used. So going back to that, connecting with the topic or with the content. So again, coming up with an essential question, right? Something that we want for them to think about, make it more personal. So for example, here we were working on a song that talked about flying, using our imagination, basically. So I asked a question where if you could fly, where would you go and why, for example? And everyone just shared where they wanted to go, and they added a little bit of a picture there. And then we shared with each other why they wanted to go to that place. So in a way, we were talking about the song that was part of our content, our topic, but it was personal, it was relatable to their own lives. So I love Padlet for that. Here is another example. It was Physical Activity Day back in April, I believe, and I always like to acknowledge, events that are happening either here in the US or in the world. So I like to actually come up with challenges all the time, give them an activity. If it's something that you can pair to your content, to your topics, even greater. So here we all came up with the challenge for the month of April, a physical activity that we were going to do and how often we were going to do. So we kept this Padlet for accountability, and we checked, on a weekly basis. Okay, how are you doing with your challenge? So I feel like in this way, if you give them a challenge, they are more likely also to do it. And this could be great for you to have as an evidence, of your program, because you have something actually to share. So that works great as well. And I've used also Padlet as a way to have that collaboration, that connection where everyone just came and added questions, and everyone was able to make some comments about it. And the engagement, it's pretty high. And I've used it as well for art galleries, make it, and always tell them this is a safe space for you to come and share with one another. And it's great to see, how they engage and they feel acknowledged, really. So that is basically how I use Padlet. And if it's okay, Wendy, I'm going to take a few more seconds because I do want to share this with you all. Another use of Padlet, for personal use. I love using it just to store information. So we're actually going to share this Padlet with you that includes all the links that some of them have already been shared and that we'll be sharing. So I recommend that you take a look at this site. They have a free version where you can have 3 Padlets, but the premium version, it's only $10 a month, which I think it's totally worth it. So I recommend. All right, I am gonna let Wendy take over for now.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to share something that's another way to connect with participants. Maybe you could use it as an icebreaker. It's really more of a game, not such a collaboration thing, but you could actually use it to get across concepts. So it's an online puzzle game. And so I'll show that to you real quick. Let's see. I love puzzles, and so this is a big rabbit hole for me, but this is the Jigsaw Explorer. And they have these featured puzzles. You can pick one. You can also create your own, play your own photo or continue a saved puzzle. You can create a custom puzzle. And so we wanted to point out that maybe you have a group photo of a group you're working with, or what else we've done is working with teens, talking about cultural competency, put up some key words that they're going to need to know, and then they put the puzzle together. I will just show you, I did a quick search so you can search for themes. And I'm just going to show you real quick. So here, this is kind of what it looks like in parts of San Juan Island right now, and maybe around you as well. Round bales on farms as they start to hay. So I could say, okay, we're going to play this puzzle, and then it's loading. There's an option to do multiplayers. So I can click on this multiplayer mode, and I've got my nickname, but I can also create a game link. And oh, made a fun sound, and I can copy that link and share it with whomever is on the call. And you literally get to solve this puzzle together and click things into place. So if you are a personality like me, it's highly satisfying, but it's a great way to create a little opportunity for participants to collaborate. Like I said, it can be definitions, and I can show you, I think I can show you one real quick that that we had. Let's see, continue a saved puzzle, should just pop right up. Yeah, so this is the one I was talking about where it's it was words. So you can see the word reflection is starting to form right there in the middle. And so there were other terms in here that if we'd continued playing longer, then we would have gotten our whole kind of glossary. And then that would have been a great way of leading into some discussion about what does this mean, and what does this mean for our group and for our work together. So I just wanted to share that with you. I would love to do a jigsaw puzzle with all of you, but it would get us off track from the actual interactive portion of this that we're going to do with you next. So this is all leading into another tool that we'd like to present to you and also try out with you as a group. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Exactly, not enough time. I thought we might have enough time, but we're actually right on schedule, even with our delayed start. So
That's what it seems like, and I'm
yeah.
I mean, all right, so I'll share my screen again
Great.
so that I can wait. What am I doing? So sorry. I think I was sharing a whiteboard, which that's not what I wanted to share. All right. How about now? You just
Good.
my sliding, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we covered Jamboard, Padlet, Jigsaw. Thank you, Wendy, for that. This was something that I didn't know before, so I really look forward to using it. And also we want to show you, and we're actually going to be doing an activity on this other tool called Flippity. I think it has such a funny name. Another raise of hand, how many of you have heard of or used Flippity? I can see hands, which is great. Really want to share this. In a nutshell, it kind of gamifies Google Docs, or like a worksheet, or just simple question and answer. You can turn them into interactive activities or kind of games. So today we're going to be using the randomizer option. So I think, Wendy, you will share your screen now, right?
Yeah, do you want me to go ahead and start sharing the spreadsheet now?
Yes. So
Perfect.
not only do we want to show you, share about it, but we want to show you one.
Yeah. So we're going to walk you through the process. Let's see. Actually, we want to show, do we want to show kind of what it looks like first and then go into the spreadsheet, Karen? Yeah. Hang on then. Let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. So this is the classic, like flipping through all the screens that are open on my computer. Thank you for your patience.
You're fine. I can maybe talk while you try to pull it up. I was introduced to this tool not a while ago, and it has so many activities. It has a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, it's great. There are so many options.
Oh, I keep going back. The link that we have in there just keeps taking me back to the spreadsheet. So hang on, let me just,
How about this other one in the chat? Are you able to see the chat? I think I had it pulled up.
it's just flippity.net, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did see some comments to say not heard of it, not used it, heard but not used it. That's
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start sharing screens. I'll just show you the main page for it, and then let's see. This should work. Can everybody see that? The flippity? Okay, great. So so fun. Not only is the name fun, but actually doing it is really fun. And so we'll just go ahead and transition into the activity. What do you think?
yes, I believe.
Great. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be typing. So what you would do
You
is,
want to share the spreadsheet?
yeah, so we've got a spreadsheet all ready to go.
Yes.
Okay.
So for this activity, we're gonna have different columns where we're gonna be, what Wendy is gonna be typing actually, but for this activity, we're gonna get creative. We're gonna come up with a fun and creative story where I'm gonna ask for your suggestions in the chat. First, I will take some for who. So it could be any character. The more creative, the better. It could be fictional, it could be a profession, just any suggestions that you have. And we already have some already on screen. Your fourth grade teacher, a quick gray fox, Luke Skywalker. So any characters. Any you can think of. First thing that comes to your mind. 4-H educator, great. See one more, I'll take one more. A lunch lady, oh, love that. Right, let's go now to a superpower. How about we have invisibility, can see into the future, ability to breathe underwater. What is some other cool superpowers?
About speed, very fast.
Speed, that's great.
You got mind reader.
Mind reader.
In the back of their head.
To see in the back of your head. Ooh, wow.
Okay, Mom.
I love that. All right. Should we do the next one? Okay, so how about now an item that you use in your 4-H programs? We have some examples already, a shovel, shears, a lawnmower, in a book.
Stuffed goat is listed.
Mm-hmm.
About a rocket, a gavel, microphone.
Stuffed goat, gavel,
Mike, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now let's think about a place where our story is going to take place.
Barn.
Have a barn for another item.
Of the fairgrounds.
Basement. Nice. An island. Yeah. I can see we're gonna get some really, really cool stories here. Right. So that's all the columns that we have. So now Wendy is gonna do some magic here. She's actually gonna model. She's gonna get a link that we all are going to use.
That's right. So I am going to get this link, and you can see what I'm doing down here at the bottom where you would normally have your different sheets in a spreadsheet. The randomizer is on one of them, and get the link here. So here is the link to our randomizer. And let's see here. So I'm going to copy that link, and I will put it in a new tab, and I'm going to show it to you.
We're going to share it with you, but not at this exact moment.
Not at this exact moment. We just want to show you how this works. So can everybody see this? It almost looks like you're working the slots, right? And so, so the way this works, I've got to move my things on my screen around here, is you can spin all the wheels over here to get a random combination of your WHO superpower and item you used in your 4-H programs and where. So this combination would be your 4th grade teacher with the ability to breathe underwater and a stuffed goat and an enchanted forest. And you can just, spin, and you can see just about every time you're gonna have, oh, we've got the 4th, we've got a couple of them, a couple times, a repeat. So let's see what happens if we do this one. Well, we get Luke Skywalker this time, and we already get a stuffed goat. So let's see what happens here with a shovel. So Luke Skywalker, invisibility, shovel in New York City. Get the idea? It gets pretty silly pretty fast.
Yes, but it's so fun.
It's so fun. And you can define your own columns, like your own categories. We just came up with these ones because they made sense to us. But back in that spreadsheet, you could actually add, if we go back, if I go back to the randomizer, theoretically, you can see there's more columns in here. You could add more columns just depending on what the goal of your activity is. So now you've seen how that gets set up, and we're going to segue into an activity. So I'm actually going to stop sharing at this point.
As in a comment could be a fun way for you to relate terms, vocabulary to within a subject. Absolutely. Yeah. Karen, would you mind popping the slideshow back up so that we can give them instructions for what we're going to do next? Yes. Right.
So, and great. We're going to do some breakout rooms, and I think we can go ahead and just do breakout rooms. Let's do 2, so you can just work in pairs. Does that sound good? Okay, great. And that'll just mean that we'll need to redefine those breakout rooms to do 2, I think. And we'll just stay in the main room. All right, so we're going to do storytelling and problem solving with the Flippity randomizer, and you'll get 10 minutes in your breakout rooms. And here's the situation. You have received notice that the internet will shut down for an indefinite amount of time. Now, as a classic 4-H question, now what? And so in your group, we're going to give you the link, and you're going to go to the Flippity randomizer. You'll spin it, get your unique word combination, and use those randomized words to create the now what part of the story. And then we have a slide deck set up, a Google slide deck set up, where you can put your story on your slide for your group. And you can add pictures, you can add drawings, you can do whatever you want. In Google Slides, it has the fun function where you can search for images. We use that a lot when we were preparing our slideshow for this. And then back in the larger group, we'll share our stories, as much as time allows. And since there's just we're a small group, I think we should be able to share our stories and have some fun with this. So I'm going to first, let's see, first I'm going to share the link to the Flippity randomizer in the chat. Then we're going to share the link to the Google slide deck. And I think that also has a restating of the question, right? Of you've received notice about the internet. Perfect. So I've just got to find that.
I pop it into the chat if that works for you.
That's great. The link to the Google slideshow. Perfect. So you've got a link to the randomizer in the chat, a link to the slide deck in the chat. I've noticed in breakout rooms, sometimes you don't have access to the chat from the main room anymore. So
Right.
it'd be great if you go ahead and just click on those links so you have them open on your computer right now before we send you into breakout
Actually,
rooms.
the slide has the link to the Flippity also.
Oh, fantastic.
It's in
Okay.
it's within the second slide. So
Oh, great.
let's say it's going to be only 2 breakout rooms. So for group 1 can use slide number 3 to add, the details of your story, and group 2 can use slide number 4.
Perfect. And so we'll come back into the main room, I think at 1:40, and then we'll be just right on target. I'm going to start our breakout rooms.
Well, are we clear on what we're doing? Do we have any?
Exactly. Are there any
Are we going
questions?
into the breakout rooms?
And are you going to pause or are you just going to record the one that stays in the main room?
We'll pause.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I think we've got everybody. All right. I'll go ahead and open up the rooms. All right. So just, yeah, real quick. We heard from the first group who rejoined us. They had fun. How was it for you, Kim and Jeanette? Was it fun or?
It was fun. We actually found a picture to put in. And Jeanette, look over that, and I typed in the story.
Great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share these and so that we can take a look and invite you all just to share your stories and kind of how you got where you got. So here we go. Can everyone see that? Let's see. I wonder, shall I go ahead and does it make a difference if I do like a present? Is that a little better, clearer to see? Is
Make it a little bigger, probably.
that good?
That's better.
Great. So we've got group 1. So group 1, do you want to tell us about your story and how you address this issue of?
Well,
The
we figured,
internet
well, we
being
could
gone.
see into the future, so we have this in the bag. So we kind of like, well, we're tired. We're going to go on vacation. Take a break while the internet's down. I don't know if Jeanette wants to add anything to that. So.
I think you summarized it pretty good. We've got all our bags there on the corner, so we're ready.
Oh, that's great. How did you do? So now it looks like you took an image and then you added a little kind of cartoon graphic to it, or was it already like that?
I added to it. That's with the Bitmoji app. So it's connected with Snapchat, and there's I think you call it a plugin that you can add to Chrome that you can connect your Bitmoji to things. And so.
Very fun. Thank you so much. All right. Group 2, would you like to share with us?
Sure. Oh no, someone stole our club's 4-H gavel. In this short story, the STEM Spin Club enlists the help of Luke Skywalker to communicate via the Force since the internet is down. With his powers to see into the future, Luke finds out who stole the gavel and where they stashed it. Eventually, through a wild series of events, the gavel is found wrapped in a banana leaf on the island of the planet Galdova.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
Bounce.
That's great. Well, I'm going to stop sharing and thank you so much for trying that out. Yeah, what fun to see what you came up with. And like Karen was saying, we hope that this will provide an idea for your own programming and something that you can use. I mean, you can use it with youth, you could use it with colleagues, you can use it with any number of groups. This little bit of online software. So with that, I want to hand this over. We're a little bit ahead of time. Are there any other comments on that last activity before we move on? Any other questions or thoughts before we continue?
The only question is what other things can you do with Flippity? If you wanted to go a little bit more, because not many people were familiar with that.
Right. If that's okay, I can share my screen.
Yeah.
I have it pulled up here. So let's see. So with Flippity, I hope to do this right. All right, can you see my window? All right. So it's called flippity.net. And you can turn, like I said, worksheets into interactive activities. You have name picker. You can have like a quiz show, like what's it called? Like Jeopardy kind of game. You can create a scavenger hunt. You can create your own board game. You can have matching activity. You can create a bingo. You can have like a batch images for them to collect. You can have a crossword puzzle, word scramble, snowman. Love that. I mean, as simple as it can be, but in a digital way, you can do it here. You can create word clouds directly here. Mad Libs. You can have your tournament bracket, which is something else that I recommend to create that. Just that collaboration, you know, that connection. You can create certificates. I'm seeing here. I haven't really used it, but it's an option too. So there's multiple options. You can see demos for each of the activities. Well, this is the one that we used actually. For bingo, just for you to test it. And if you actually want to, play, you would just use you will share this with your participants and then you can play. And for you to edit, to make adjustments, you would just have to download the template into your drive, which would likely be a Google Sheets, just like Wendy did. So it's totally free, and there are so many options. Like I said, it may take like a small learning curve, to go through the process, but the instructions that they give you here are also pretty well explained. Do we have any other questions? Because I remember someone said that they had heard about it. I'm seeing a message. I could see the brackets for some fun networking around. Yes. I've done that activity. I've done it with music. We listen to music, songs, and everyone just votes for their favorite. But you can totally personalize it with any other topic.
And I was thinking even to pick a T-shirt for like the fair or something, have the colors and then narrow it down and who's going to win.
Yeah, that is great. I love that. Thank you. All right, so we have no more questions or comments, and if you do, feel free to pop them into the chat. I'm gonna share back our slides. We're almost at the end here. All right, can you guys see the slides again? Great, thank you. So, right, we talked about tech tools, right, way to create that connection with the use of technology. But, we recognize, and this is something that Wendy and I talked throughout the planning of our webinar, we were able to address that, unfortunately, not everyone has the same access to technology, right? Participants may not have a really good internet connection, or they may not, devices definitely may be an issue. So we wanted to, open this activity as a way to learn, share, like if you have some ideas on how to still create that connection without technology. We do have some that we wanted to share as a way to plan, as you're planning your session, your programming, know in advance what kind of, how will they join your activity? How will they participate? In the registration process, you wanna ask what kind of resources they have or they may not have, and then from there, then you plan. If you know that they're lacking technology access, then you may want to send physical materials in advance, maybe like a paper document or something, without the use of technology. But that's like to plan ahead. Do we have any other I see some comments in the chat. Think creatively for
Some
concepts.
ideas.
If you have no idea what I'm talking about, Google it. Absolutely. Yes. Google knows everything. All right. So also during the session, if there's no technology, you could totally just not even worry about it, but you can still have that discussion, right? Where the facilitator asks a question and everyone can just take a piece of paper and they can just share, at the same time, we all share. And it's actually a nice activity as well to do that. And even if you're in an online setting, it takes a minute to share the links if you wanted to use Jamboard or something else. So if you don't have enough time to do that, just tell them, okay, have a piece of paper, write a word, share something, and at the count of 3, everyone will share it to the camera. So that also works really well. I've done that. Or for example, right now in breakout rooms, I encourage you to know in advance, if possible, again, this will have to be done through the registration, know in advance what kind of device they may be using so that you can pair participants. I always have the same issue in my classes. I have students that only join with the phone. So I normally pair them with someone that has a computer and I know that can be shared their screen and they can be the ones typing, but the interaction can still happen without the other person having to leave the meeting and go to the link and everything. So that's another thing that I've done. Or have just a brainstorm activity, like a sharing circle with the facilitator leads the activity and everyone just shares, kind of like what we did at the beginning, pass the ball or toss the ball activity. Does anyone have any other idea? I mean, that doesn't involve technology? Anyone?
I just know some of the workshops I've been to that have been fun is just getting us moving. Sometimes they've had us step away and step back and done some like simple line dancing or like little camp things, like with the rocket things we do, just to get us up and kind of moving it away from the screen. But
oh my gosh, yes. Actually, I encourage to do brain breaks, throughout the sessions. We probably should have had a brain break in here. Totally recommend those. Even, if they're in person, that's totally fine. But especially in online settings, we definitely need a break from screen. So it's good to have, activities where they can get up, even if it's just for a few seconds even. So totally encourage you to. And I was gonna also add, I talked before about having like a weekend chat or calendar talk activity with them with Jamboard, but you don't even need that. It only takes to ask the question, all right, what are you doing in the week? What are you going to do this weekend? And just have them shared, and you'll see that they really want to share. They love talking about themselves, and they always want to share. So, and like I said, next time you can always ask, hey, how was it? That's a way to get that connection and make them feel heard. They really appreciate that, and you'll be surprised how much they just share with that. Thank you, Kim, for that as well. So I think that it's the end of our webinar. I see the reminder of our evaluation. We would appreciate your feedback, but actually, no, we have a closing activity. Sorry.
We do. And I think, do you want to just introduce it real quick? And then I've got the link to share in the chat. And I did also want to say before we close up, Karen, and the rest of the group, that I was, Kim and we all have been keeping an eye on the Ideas parking lot that we shared at the beginning. It's remained blank, so there's nothing to follow up on the parking lot. So I just wanted to share that. If there had been, we could have addressed it at this time, but I think we mostly just used the chat to exchange ideas this time. So you want to go ahead?
Yes, and just to mention something about the parking lot, that was available for you. If there's anything that you happen to learn later on that talks about creating that connection, please share with us. It'll be available for you in that Padlet. We're going to share with all the links for easy access in just one site. I love that Padlet. So, all right. So with this webinar, right, not only did we want to share ideas and learn from yours, but we do hope that you got inspired and that you can find an application for your program or your sessions. So Wendy is going to share a Jamboard, I believe.
There it is.
Mhm. Should I share it on my screen?
I can.
Okay, but here's what we want to know from you. How will you use the methods you have learned here in your teaching or in your 4-H meetings? So if you would, okay, I'm gonna stop sharing so that you can share, Wendy.
So yeah, if you see in the chat, there's a link and I'm sharing my screen so that you can see that as well.
I know that we might have bombarded you with with ideas and you know examples. So if you take one thing, what is something that really stuck out to you that you think that you could use?
Great. So somebody wrote, I really want to explore Padlet more for some of our team planning events as we regroup.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
They could create their own Padlets too. There's a free option. I think it limits you to 3 only, but it's great. So totally. It actually, if you wanted to learn a little bit more about Padlet and get some templates for it, or even for Jamboard, I do have a Padlet that I put together as part of West Virginia State social media. You know, we wanted to increase our engagement on Facebook, so we had like a session called Fridays for Educators, and I have added a few resources. So we're gonna share that with you as well. There are some ideas for, actually there's some tutorials even for Padlet, for Jamboard. I shared an idea also on how to have a green screen as your background with just a tablecloth, and that's actually what I use as my green screen. So you'll find a video for that as well.
Great. Well, it looks like we've got Padlet and Flippity are going to provide some inspiration.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Take pieces of those programs, explain how they relate. Great. Making some connections. Sounds like making some connections. Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. It's 1:57. So it looks like Kim, you shared the link to the evaluation.
Yep.
Thank you, Kim.
And thank you for doing that. And let's see. And then Karen, are you going to share the link to the for your Padlet?
Yes, I can actually. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead to have something on screen.
We've got something else.
I'm gonna share our contact information. If there's any questions that you would like to further address, please, we would love to hear from you. I'm gonna pull up a link to that Padlet that I shared before. Like I said, I love having things organized in one place. So I found myself creating a lot of Padlets for personal use. So I am going to share it in the chat. And I can actually share it for you to see it again. All right, here we go. So it has all the links that we shared today. The link to the PRKC, it's here. The parking lot will be here for you to access it whenever, something that popped, you say, okay, it's related to that topic. We would love to hear that, share that with us, please. Here you have the Jamboard, the application, the jigsaw puzzle that Wendy shared with us. Here you have the link to the Flippity. You even have the evaluation form here. If there's no way, there's no time for you to fill it out after the webinar, you can just come back to it whenever you have. We would appreciate your feedback. And here's a link to that Fridays for Educators Padlet that I have put together. It's still a work in progress. I haven't really in some time, but it has some resources I actually included some of those social emotional learning check-ins. There's plenty. There's a Pinterest board where you can just get a lot of those images. So I'm gonna stop sharing here. Do we have any questions? Any final comments?
Well, thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon and taking this time out of your day to learn together. We really appreciate it. And yeah, please be in touch if you have any questions.
That-
We'll let you know. I mean, I think you're onto something with that storyline.
Yes, please. I mean, if you can, continue with it and just share it, and I know that I would get it. Thank you so much for your time, for honoring us with your presence, and for choosing to be here. I think that we all met our community commitments. Thank you for your participation, for your ideas, and we hope to see you again in another webinar. This is a series, actually, this is the third one on a series of 7.
Mhm.
I believe next week, like I said at the beginning, connections before curriculums. Next Thursday, the webinar is going to be all about curriculum and lesson design, I believe. So
Yeah.
I hope that you can join that one too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to stop recording, but I can stay on for a couple of minutes.
Yes, I'm here.